computers. This week, our IRS and FTC webinar is cyber insurance for tax firms, what it covers, what it doesn't, and why it's not a substitute for compliance. So cyber insurance is not a financial safety net. It's not a security strategy either. So cyber insurance is a policy that helps cover the financial losses of a cyber attack or data breach. Things like the forensic investigations, legal fees, client notifications, and business interruption. It does not prevent breaches, and it does not make you compliant. So what cyber insurance is, so it's a financial backstop after a breach occurs. It's coverage for legal costs and client notification, help paying for forensic investigation costs, business interruption loss coverage, and ransom payment coverage, but that's policy dependent. Some policies have a clause that explicitly denies or excludes ransomware. So you have to make sure that your policy includes it, or you get it added onto the policy if you choose. So what cyber insurance is not, it's not a substitute for your WISP. It's not a replacement for multi-factor or access controls. It's not proof of IRS or FTC compliance. It's not a guarantee that a claim will be paid. And it's not protection against your own negligence. That one there is the big one. Whether you have cyber insurance or not, and all small businesses, really, they should have cyber insurance. One of the biggest reasons for a denial of a claim is because of not having things in place that those policies require, which is what they refer to as your own negligence. So what it covers, the costs a policy can help cover after a breach. So you've got the forensic investigation. So hiring a cybersecurity expert to identify how the breach happened, what was accessed, and how to contain it. So these engagements typically run from $10,000 to $50,000, and I've seen them go much higher than that as well. The legal defense and liability, so attorney fees if a client sues after their data is exposed, coverage for regulatory defense if the IRS or FTC initiates a formal review. So with financial institutions, they've got IRS and FTC compliance requirements, and your cyber insurance can help cover the costs if they initiate a review themselves. It can also help with ransomware payments. So some policies cover ransomware payments if the data is encrypted and you choose to pay. Coverage limits and conditions vary significantly by insurer. So again, that's one where most of the time it's excluded. So if you want ransomware payment protection in your cyber policy, you would have to add it. Client notification costs. So the legal and operational costs of notifying clients, state authorities, and the IRS. Depending on your client count, this can run thousands of dollars. So notifications of your clients, I mean, you've got to let all your clients know that there was a breach in your business and that their information may have been exposed. And there's a cost associated with all that. The next one is business interruption. So while the investigation's ongoing and all of this is happening, your business very well can't operate. It can't function while this is going on. So lost revenue, if your firm can't operate during the breach response, servers are down, your EFIN is suspended, and staff time diverted from billable work. So that, business interruption is something that cyber insurance can cover. And then your PR and crisis management. So the cost of managing client communications and your public perception after a high-profile breach is more relevant for larger firms with business clients. But it's still, PR and crisis management, even for small businesses, it can hurt your reputation. So it's important that you've got coverage to help, on the flip side, regaining your profile, that you're a good business. What voids your policy? So why small firms claims get denied? Insurers are tightening their requirements. Firms without documented security controls are seeing claims denied, even when they have a valid policy and pay every premium. So, think about it. If you're paying for cyber insurance every month, every year, and you don't have certain controls in place, as soon as you go to make a claim, it's going to be denied. So for financial institutions, the written information security plan, that is critical, also known as a WISP. So if you don't have one of those, insurers now require a WISP as a condition of coverage. No WISP at the time of the breach is claim denied. Multi-factor authentication not enabled on critical systems. So if MFA was available but not enabled on the breached portal or system, most policies exclude the claim entirely. So, you have one system that gets breached and all the others had the securities in place, but they also get compromised, then the claim's denied. So that all comes back to like one weak link in the system can compromise the entire network, the entire business. No documented employee security training. Failure to train staff is treated as negligence. One insurer category explicitly includes preventable human error. So security training for your employees is critical so they know what to look for and what to avoid. And without proof that you're performing those trainings, you don't have proof that it wasn't a preventable human error. Known vulnerabilities left unpatched. So if your software was unpatched and the attacker exploited a known vulnerability, the policy may not cover it. So think about every week or every couple of weeks, there's Windows updates. You may have other software updates that come down, and a lot of people ignore them or hit, remind me later. And if you're avoiding installing those updates, you're leaving vulnerabilities open on your system. So making sure that everything is updated when it comes up is very critical. And then misinterpretation on the application. If you answered yes to having controls that you didn't actually have when you applied, the entire policy can be voided. So this is one where, if you're just checking the box, yes, I got that, I got this, I got that, and there's a breach, you have to have proof that all those things were in place at the time of your application. And this is one where, if your insurance agent is handling the application and filling it out for you, unless they're asking you the questions, it's very likely that they're just checking all the boxes that are required and getting you the coverage without having those certain securities and settings in place. So unless you as the owner or an agent within your business are filling out the application, you should review it just to be sure that you are going to be covered when there's a breach. Why compliance comes first. So insurance pays after a breach, but compliance can help. It says prevents it. I like to say mitigate, because they're in the world of cybersecurity, nothing can prevent a breach. We can mitigate it to its fullest, but it's still only 99% mitigated. So there's still not, prevent means all 100% preventing, but it's technically mitigating. So what compliance gives you? It reduces the likelihood of a breach occurring. It protects your EFIN from IRS suspension, satisfies insurance underwriting requirements, which is the critical one we're talking about today, demonstrates good faith in any IRS review, lowers your premium with documented controls. So think about it, just like auto insurance. If you take a safe driving course or your vehicle has certain security features in place, you get discounts. If you are compliant with the IRS and the FTC, it'll help lower your insurance premiums as well, because you're showing that you're doing all the right things. And then it makes your firm insurable at all. Certain firms, if they're large firms and they have nothing in place, most insurances won't even touch it because they know how vulnerable that makes them. So what do insurers ask on the applications? They want to know if you have a written WISP, which is a requirement of the IRS, so that should be in place. Is MFA enabled on email and remote access? So any critical email systems, software packages that you use for your firm, all of those should have MFA enabled if it has the ability to. Do you conduct annual employee security training? So again, trained employees are more secure. It's kind of like the human firewall, they call it. Trained employees are the human firewall, and they know what to look for and what to avoid versus untrained employees. Do you have an incident response plan? And that is, if an incident occurs, what are the steps you're going to take to mitigate it, who to contact? And honestly, that's part of the WISP as well. Do you perform regular data backups? If you're making backups regularly, whether it's every hour, every couple of hours, or daily, regular backups definitely help your insurability with cyber insurance. Have you had a prior breach in the last 3 years? So obviously, just like automobile accidents, if you had an incident in the last couple of years, it makes you a harder person to insure or harder business to insure. So getting your firm insurable, what you need in place before you apply for coverage. So the baseline requirements are written WISP, MFA on email and all remote access, documented annual employee training, and documented is the key there. Make sure that you're documenting that they're being trained, who's being trained on what, and the results, who's passing, who's failing, who needs extra training because they did fail. Encrypted, tested offsite data backups, incident response plan, which again is part of the WISP, patch management so that software is kept current and up to date, access controls documented by role. So each person in the business, what is their role and what access to what documents and files and things like that do they have? So typical coverage tiers is the minimum requirements is basic. That can be up to $500,000 in coverage. Standard can be up to $1 million in coverage. And then enhanced is up to $5 million in coverage. So typically with our clients, no matter what they are, we always recommend at least $1 million worth of coverage. That's just because the cost of breaches and remediation is ever increasing. It's always going up. So, if you get $1 million today and then something happens in 2 or 3 years, well, the cost of that situation, that remediation and stuff, is going to be even more. So getting that $1 million or higher coverage is going to make sure that you're well protected, into the future. And then so you have to build the controls first, and then you buy insurance. So firms that apply for cyber insurance before having controls in place, they either get denied or they pay a lot more for their premiums. So if you end up with exclusions that gut the policy's value when you need it most. So getting the controls and the compliance requirements in place first helps when you go to buy insurance. Your premiums will be lower and you will be more likely to get insurance in the first place. So the question is, if you filed a claim today, would it be paid? So most firms, they can't confidently answer yes. A business risk assessment tells you exactly where you stand. And that's what we offer at B&R Computers. We offer a free 30-minute phone call. It's a business risk review. And we review certain critical aspects of the business. We ask you questions and see what you know, what you don't know, where there may be some gaps. And this will help you understand where your business is at now. And then the benefit to this is at the end of the call, within a couple of days, we provide a summary of what we discussed. And in that summary, it does include actionable items on, what to fix and things like that. So if you've got an IT provider already, if you give them that list, they can help you rectify the issues and gaps that we found. Or if you don't have somebody to work with, obviously we can help you with that. So there's no obligation, there's no pressure. We're just here. It's a free 30-minute call. We see where you stand, and then from there, if you have your IT provider handle it, great. At least your business is better protected than before we talked. So if you're interested in signing up for one of those, if you go to businessrisk.bnrcomputers.com, you can select your date and time, and then we'll get that, a notice that you signed up, and we'll talk to you then. So that's all that I've got today. If anybody has any questions or concerns, or there's anything they'd like to see in a future topic, feel free to give us a call, send us an email, or comment on this video. We're always watching and being sure that we're answering anything that comes through. We enjoy talking with our viewers and clients. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.